There are many social justice YouTube channels out there that are obnoxious, infuriating, boring, dishonest, and dull. Some even with bigger organization behind them and a larger audience. But out of all of these, there is one that makes my blood boil more than all others combined. The one channel I hate above all others, and the one I wish to go up in smoke and disappear into the barbaric abyss out of which it crawled out of, and into its wretched, worthless, and disgusting existence. That channel is AJ+. Now, why do I hate these scumbags? Well, it's mainly who they are owned by. They aren't just some small amateur channel like TYT. This is a channel with a lot of money pushed into it to build a bigger organizational structure with several employees that can push out videos on a daily basis with a very political message. They don't operate on profit, but solely on the basis on getting out that message. They work kind of like how the tabloid media landscape works in the UK. Papers that turn in no income whatsoever, make no profit whatsoever, but are kept alive and running by their owners for the sole purpose of pushing out the owner's political message. The owners of AJ Plus copied that tabloid concept and built upon it on YouTube. And who are the owners of this channel? The royal family of Qatar. Yes, the same people who paid for all sorts of wonderful, civilized things to happen all around the world are financing this social justice channel and pumping money into it to make it bigger than most others out there. And one can smell the stench of Arab money when they upload videos proclaiming how Israel is at fault for all horrible things in the world, when they enforce a strict media silence when horrible things come out of the Middle East, when they claim that Jews control the United States political landscape, when they praise Islamic countries as the beacons of the civilized world. And the best thing about them is their alliance with the Black Lives Matter movement and how they praise that movement and how they make videos lecturing about how the United States is supposed to pay reparations for slavery. Let that sink in for a moment. A country which is currently holding over 1 million people in actual slavery right now at this very moment, which, and this is not a joke by the way, built a museum about the evils of slavery with slaves. That country is lecturing you on slavery that was abolished in your country over 150 years ago. I don't know, by the way, what the Arabic word for hypocrisy is, but there is something which I guess has become very clear to most of us at a very early point. The fascist Muslim scumbags of the world love the cultural Marxist movements of the West. They love the obnoxious, stupid, with misguided notions of tolerance, who offer them a path to further their disgusting agendas on a silver platter. Because guess what? The ideals and principles on which free and open societies are founded and built upon stand in absolute opposition to their barbaric and authoritarian social structures. And this poisonous alliance between the regressive left and the Islamic religious far right has done nothing more than further the people against whom the left used to struggle against 100 years ago. This disgusting channel here is a manifestation of what I hate the most. It is the disgusting, mutated bastard child that came into existence out of a marriage between the two things I hate the most. It's the regressive serving a platform and added legitimacy to people who behead gays, burn books, slaughter hundreds of thousands, and burn human beings in the name of God. And make no mistake about it, unlike all the other annoying and obnoxious regressive mouthpieces on the internet, everything you will hear from this channel here wasn't thought up by some pseudo-academic, but was dictated by the Ministry of Truth in a repulsive Middle Eastern dictatorship, then cloaked in a veneer of hipster social justice buzzwords to appease the stupid regressive massives in an attempt to try to further the barbaric Middle Eastern agenda that these people hold. Here we go, guys. The Qatari Ministry of Truth tells you that there is no such thing as a radical or radicalization, and to back it up, they will serve you a shitload of half-truths, lies and strawmen. Let's start off with the edit I did, because I waded through too much bullshit just spewed out by this disgusting person, and I decided to cut all the bullshit out and limit the video to what she is actually saying.
In fact, when we used to talk about radicals, we meant these guys. And now we mean these guys, and sometimes we're afraid that includes all of them too.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us redefine words and sneak in the Qatari state agenda whilst we are at it. Let's take the adjective radical, which is very neatly and well defined by the German dictionary Duden as to hold an extreme political or ideological worldview. Let's stick that word to a group of people who didn't hold any extreme worldviews, of course with the exception of the most overrated fascist of all time, and then at the end, let's just throw in a political snipe in form of a straw man to insinuate that the term is unfairly placed upon people. But it gets even better.
Oh, here's the biggest open secret about radicalization. It doesn't exist. But when we talk about radicalization, we don't mean these guys, we mean Muslims. No one asked, where was he radicalized when a white dude goes on a shooting spree in a school or theater? White men have been responsible for 64% of mass shootings in this country since 1982, and they get the privilege of being lone wolf shooters.
Yes, according to the Qatari Ministry of Truth, being an insane wacko who dresses up like a movie character and shoots up a cinema is a privilege. And because that is supposedly a privilege that prevents them from being called radical, the word radical shouldn't be used anymore because it is just for the unprivileged. Let's take a look again at the people she presented as her evidence. 5 people out of which 3 were insane or delusional, and 2 who actually had an ideological motivation, a Nazi and a right-wing fanatic. Now here is the thing about Nazis that Qatar deliberately forgets. So here's some breaking news for you. The Nazis lost the war. The Nazis don't hold wide swaths of land in the Middle East. The Nazis don't have a majority population in the Islamic countries who support their cause. Every single right-wing terrorist attack, from the Bologna bombings to the South Carolina attack, was an isolated lone wolf incident carried out and planned by individual ideologues without wider support. In contrast to that, Islamic terrorism has a massive ideological support throughout the world, from Egypt to Pakistan, has massive organizational efforts behind it, with even Islamic governments being implicated in supporting terrorism, just like your own country, Qatar, by the way. Let me put it like this. Where is the several 10,000 strong group of armed right-wingers occupying large swaths of land in the United States under the banner of the white state? Oh yeah, it doesn't exist. And now let's get to something really amazing.
In the US, you can't be prosecuted for your speech, even if your views are extreme and really gross, except in very specific, hard-to-prove cases. So yeah, the Constitution protects your right to be a Nazi, to say anti-black crap. It even protects your right to advocate for consensual love between a grown man and a child. Because views aren't actions. Actions can be criminal, but views? Nope.
Yes, you Qatari shill, views don't rip through trains like shrapnel. Views don't tear your arms and legs off. Views don't burn your skin. Views don't behead you for being gay. Views don't murder Jews. Views don't kill you. Actions are what matters. And guess what kind of actions are coming out of the Middle East right now?
And continuing to talk about radicalization without any set criteria and targeting only Muslims when we talk about radicalization makes anything and everything that Muslims do suspect.
This entire social justice movement that is creeping out of the United States makes one big mistake that they are simply so gleefully unaware of. There are places all around the world that are not the United States. Your statistics on mass shootings in the United States are fucking irrelevant. Why? Because Islamic fascism is a global problem. It's an ideology that burns its way all throughout the entire fucking globe. It is why your ridiculous and pathetic American-centric oppression Olympics and concepts of white guilt, as well as the idea of blaming everything on US foreign interventions, does not apply or work. There have been over 100 Islamic terrorist attacks in the Philippines over the past 10 years. The Philippines. When the fuck did the Philippines ever bomb the Middle East? Where exactly do the Filipinos rank in your oppression Olympics, considering that they are a third world country who themselves were a colony for 400 years? Over the past 20 years, we've had over 40,000 Islamic terrorist attacks all throughout the world, with attacks taking place in the Philippines, in China, Thailand, India, Indonesia, Russia, Kenya, Uganda, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Nigeria, Niger, Chad, Tanzania, and many, many, many more countries that are neither in the Middle East or European or American. And the victims of all these attacks in the past 10 years alone dwarf whatever the victims of right-wing attacks in the United States may have been over the past 100 years combined. Your attempts to push the Muslim problem into the black and white oppression Olympics fails. Because Islam is an idea and not a race. Because its adherents are just as happy killing Asians, Africans, and Indians as they are with killing white people. Take your bullshit and fuck off back to Qatar.